Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and in last video I told you guys that I'd be going through every single pair in my watch list or my trading. These are basically the pairs that I watch, and you guys sent in a bunch of pairs, and most of them are, I think like 99% of them are on here, my watch list. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the one time frame. For me, the daily will be the higher time frame. Well, let's just look at the daily. Heck, we might even go to the weekly sometimes, and I don't know, maybe we'll drop down if we see anything interesting. I don't know. We'll just kind of go. This is all one take, so let's get this thing going. Obviously, we want to identify where prices are on the higher time frame. I don't execute my trades on a daily. I might execute them on a smaller time frame, but I need to be aware of where prices are in the higher time frame. If you guys don't know really what I'm talking about, well, I'll link the tips playlist down below, and you guys can search for whatever tips playlist or tips video you guys want to see about how we use the supply and demand methodology in a step-by-step format. Okay, so let's get this thing going. Euro USD, daily time frame. I see a little, let's scroll in so you guys can see. I know sometimes you guys can't see that well. Daily time frame, looks like we have a little drop-based drop that might hold price for a little bit. I think ultimately there's that supply zone and that supply zone up here. Rally-based drop, rally-based drop, and then a drop-based drop. Down here, it looks like we are in some type of demand. I think this is, it's not the best, it's not a great demand zone, just given the fact of the leg out, but it did start this whole rally all the way up, and prices managed to go all the way up here. So I do think some buyers will be stepping in, at least in this area. You can start seeing like this reversal doji candle being formed. So I think at least some buyers are going to step in right now. As for the next lower time frame, or I mean the daily demand zone, looks like we have a nice daily drop base rally down here and then a rally base rally down there. So on the big picture, that's kind of where we are. So if this one gets removed, then well, we're going right down into an area of demand. So based on the daily time frame, I wouldn't be interested in selling until I at least come up into this area or this area. Okay, pound US dollar. I'm not a big fan of this zone, or not a big fan of the zone, but this pair, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't see anything great. In the meetings with the private group, we were talking about how this is like the demand that's kind of holding up prices, kind of been tested once. Then we create a new demand, which was here, which was right there. This drop base rally tested once, twice, three times, and then like four times and then broke, which is kind of a retest of this demand zone. I'm not really interested in buying down here. It's not that great. I think it's just been tested. It's a really ugly pair, but we are starting to see those buyers trying to step in. I think up in this daily supply zone is where the best opportunities are. And I think on the smaller time frame, there's like a rally based drop up there. But that's the two zones I'd be looking out for. As for fresh daily demand, we have a fresh daily demand down here. Okay. And even up here, fresh daily supply is also up there. I think you're going to get some selling coming in up there. If we go down to like the 4 hour, definitely if I'm looking for like scalps, I'm going to be looking up in here for scalps. Okay. So let's go down to Aussie USD. Daily time frame, we can see how prices reacted off of this drop-based drop. I'm not sure if I talked to you guys about this one, but we took a trade in this one at the 1 hour rally-based drop at the extreme of the daily supply zone. Hold on one second. So there was a 1 hour rally-based drop. We took that for like I think a 2-to-1 profit. If you did manage to hold it for like a second profit, you probably would have gotten, obviously your second target would have been smashed, hitting over a 10-to-1, but I don't know where your second target would be for necessarily you. But based on the daily time frame, I do see there is a new daily supply zone that's being formed. It's kind of a reaction off of this previous daily supply. Some people will say, well, that's the real daily supply. That's okay. If you do that, that's totally fine. You'd be selling back into a tested zone. As for demand, it looks like this demand zone that we have been watching was then removed. Prices came down, reacted, went up to fresh daily supply, touched it, and then dropped. Looks like we removed everything. I know some people that are like looking for like stop hunts or think this is just like a stop hunt, what the banks are doing, and the price is going to completely reverse. Could. I don't know. I don't necessarily trade that way, but some people will, given these wicks. But the next fresh daily demand is, I think it's on the weekly time frame and the monthly time frame that I would be watching, which is in this area. I think that's the next area where I personally would be looking for buys as of this second. Now that could be just a washout of buyers, of stop hunting all the buyers. That's my thoughts on that. As for pound New Zealand USD, looks like we have some daily demand that's tested down here. We have a fresh daily supply up there. Right now, prices are reacting off of this weekly demand zone. This is all a weekly demand zone, I believe, based on my previous time looking at this. So prices are starting to, or trying to at least buy. Buyers are trying to take control, trying to remove this supply zone. But ultimately, I want to be looking for selling opportunities possibly up here, at least for using the daily as my biggest time frame. I'm not a big fan of this daily demand. It's kind of like a base, then rally. It could work. I'm just not interested. I would rather be a buyer down in this area. Okay. USD Yen, we've been talking about it for a while, especially when you do this analysis every day for me. It gets very repetitive, but that's how it should be. Right? You should be, having that same top-down analysis, step-by-step approach. It should become very boring. It just, it should instantly come to you after some time. So prices are coming back up into that daily rally-based drop supply zone. There was a shorting opportunity that we took last week, somewhere up in there in the first couple candles. We're out of that one. But as for fresh daily demand, I want to look down here and fresh, or this is not fresh, but this is current supply that's holding price. If we want to find the next fresh zone, we've got to look over here, up and to the left. That's where I'd be interested in looking for selling opportunities again. If that fails, well then I would personally look for probably all up in this area. It's probably like a weekly or monthly supply zone if we go to the weekly time zone. So based on the weekly time frame, that would be the whole weekly zone. So if prices do manage to break those previous supply zones as we talked about, well then those are the supply zones that I'd be interested in buying. Okay. USDcad, I'm currently short this right now. Based off of this daily demand, I have my stop above this structure supply zone, so my stop's like above here somewhere. Currently short this. It's not very good considering prices rallied, rally, creating new demand zones as we're rallying back up into it. So it was pretty aggressive. Still holding it. But that's my thought process on that. I wouldn't want to be a buyer after up here because, well, there's no profit margin. But then also, why would I want to be buying prices after prices have already gone so far? I don't want to be chasing the market, right? So as of now, I'm personally a seller as of this market. That's more of a longer term trade. I think for any next daily income trades, maybe somewhere in, I don't like that, maybe somewhere there, maybe somewhere in there, but better down here. That's not even that great. This is a tricky one, but currently short this. Let's just check out the 4 hour. The 4 hour, which is good. We've broken that upward momentum. We've removed 4 hour demand. That's the first indication of pricing starting to turn. So hopefully we can start creating lower lows and lower highs. Euro Swiss or USD Swiss. Daily time frame. If we look at the daily time frame, that is my daily supply I'm interested in looking for sells at. It looks like we have created a little rally based on the daily time frame right here. Right? I'd say the trend is up based on how I do my analysis. Trend is up. And yeah, I don't see any great opportunities in here to be buying with the trend. But so maybe I'll wait for prices to come into the zone and then I'll try to buy pullbacks when price starts leaving it. Okay. I think if we go to the Swiss really quick, the currency pair, the Swiss, you see prices are currently inside this daily time frame for the Swiss currency. So in this case, we'd be buying the Swiss, meaning, we're hoping the Swiss currency goes up and gets strength. And if we go back to the USD, the Swiss, we're currently not in that supply zone. So in that previous chart I showed you, well, let's just go like this. Let's see. The Swiss, where is this? Okay, let's remove all that. So in the Swiss, we can see that prices are already inside the demand zone on the Swiss currency. Here on the right side, we're already inside, but on the left side, we're not yet into that supply. So it's not really correlated right now. Sometimes it's nice when you can get it correlated, as in you would want this Swiss to be in demand and then this USD Swiss in supply. Therefore, we would be buying the Swiss and selling the US dollar with that correlation. So right now, this correlation is not really on par with each other. Sometimes they lag behind each other. So it's not that great. But that is definitely a supply zone that I'd be interested in looking for selling opportunities. If you disagree with anything in my analysis, that's totally fine. We're all entitled to our own opinions and how we want to trade. Right? There's a reason someone's selling to me when I'm buying, and there's a reason someone's selling or when I'm buying and they're selling. I hope I got that right. Right? Clearly, someone's taking the opposite side of the trade of you because they have, based on their own analysis and their own conviction of the market, that the market's not going to go in the way that I project it to go. Someone's got to be a winner, someone's got to be a loser. That's just how this game goes. More so, you want to be a winner, obviously, more times than not. USD Singapore. I think I'm currently short this. It's doing pretty well right now. I got short in this daily supply zone, hoping for, nice little move down. A bit aggressive. I was just kind of trying to call the top and bottom on this. I think it's extremely overextended. I pulled up the RSI and the Bollinger Bands, and I was looking at this thing. I was like, damn, this thing's really overextended. There was a nice little 4-hour zone at the very extreme. I know some people picked up, but that's my whole position on that. So I'll look to manage that soon. Definitely, let's see on the 4-hour. So even on the 1-hour, you might get a small opportunity maybe up in this area. Possibly. But I'm already short that. We could go into the futures market, the daily time frame of all the futures, but to be honest, we just did the majors and everything is going to look the exact same. So if we go look at the USD, look at the yen. So we're coming into a yen demand zone. If we go to USD yen, well, we're coming into that supply zone, right? But it's going to be inverse of each other. If we go to the Canadian, well, we're reacting off of that demand zone right now. And if we go to USDcad, well, we're reacting off of that supply zone, right? So it's kind of like that inverse of each other. So usually they're just the exact same. Gold, let's take a look at gold. I'm seeing some type of supply up in here right now as a daily supply. Daily demand, I'm not interested in selling or buying down here. I think long term I am bullish gold completely, but that's based on fundamental reasons. But based on supply and demand, I'd be bearish it because prices are currently reacting off of monthly supply. And then I'd rather be a buyer back into monthly demand down here. Okay? But for short-term trades, I think you can always find opportunities. There's always opportunities every day. That's why having your top-down analysis, understanding what's your biggest time frame, and understanding what type of trading you're trying to get from it. Because if you're trying to get in and out of a trade on the 5-minute or a 15-minute, well, probably the weekly is not your best answer to be looking at it as your biggest time frame. You might want to be looking at the 4-hour or the 1-hour in that case, because you're interested in just getting those 1-to-1, 2-to-1s, and getting the heck out of the market. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I think it comes down to people's expectations in the market. Since we're already talking about that, Euro Swiss. there was people, because we talked about this, so you guys remember this one? We talked about how prices are coming back down into that demand zone down here. We talked about it in the last video, and I said 4-hour time frame. We kind of broke that, that downward channel. Let's just quickly just half-ass draw it out, something like that, right? And I said, let me go down to the 1 hour. We were talking about, we have this 1 hour demand, and then we have this other 1 hour demand, and then we have, like, at the extreme, this 1 hour demand down there at the extreme. Let's just move these all over. And then I always find this interesting because whenever people take a trade and they lose, they reach out to me and they're like, what did I do wrong? They think just because they lost a trade, they did something wrong, and they want to look for that winner. They want to get that 100% win rate. And you guys, might be surprised or you might not be surprised. I get this question a lot in my DMs. The message is sliding into my DMs about, what did I do wrong? It's not like, hey, do you think this was a good trade? Or like, hey, what's your top-down analysis? Or like, hey, I'm struggling with this in my mindset. How do you think I can get better? It's, what did I do wrong? And they just post a picture with them getting stopped out. It might have been a good trade, right? It's just it didn't work out. You need to understand that, right? You're not going to win every trade. Everybody seems to understand that they're not going to win every trade, but when they lose 2 trades or 1 trade in a row, they're trying to find that solution of what happened, what went wrong. Not every methodology works 100% of the time. Not every methodology works 99% of the time. Not every methodology works 50% of the time, right? It depends on how you craft your own strategy into your own personality. If you want to be that trader that wants to get those 1-to-1s, 2-to-1s, well, you're probably going to have a higher win rate and a better hit rate than if somebody's trying to grab 3-to-1s or 4-to-1s every trade, right? There's a give and pull effect. People seem to understand, yes, I understand there is going to be losers. But after 2 trades of losers in a row, they get all bummed out. Like, it doesn't make any sense because they're not accepting the risk. They had this mindset as it's gonna work. It's going to work. And when it doesn't work, they feel betrayed and they want to say, what happened? How can I avoid this? And it's important to go back and look at your losing trades and your winning trades to see what possibly might have you done wrong for your winners and losers. I'm not just talking about your losers. What did you possibly do wrong? But what did you do right? Was it a good trade or bad trade? You can have winning trades that's a bad trade, and you can have a bad trade that's a losing trade, right? You've got to be taking these trades at least 10 times in a row. I was having this topic in our daily recap meetings with the group today. We were talking about, I was basically talking about what I'm talking about you guys now. How I was getting messages from people, and they're complaining about, what happened? What did I do wrong? How can I avoid this from losing? And we were talking about you need to take, at least 10 trades, at least 10 trades. Like, that's the bare minimum to say, and that's still not, I'm like that's bare minimum. 10 trades, and if you can go back and you can say, okay, I've taken every trade, and you feel 100% conviction, like you're deep down, you feel that's a good trade in your mindset, in yourself, and you're like, it's a good trade. I would take it again. Okay, then you should keep that as a stat. And after 10 trades, and if you have 10 of those good trades, and you feel, I don't know, like happy with all those 10 trades that you took, well then, review and say, hey, did you come up positive? If no, okay, you might want to look to change some things up, at least something on the way, and then take another 10 trade um, example, right? I talked to you guys about, talked about this before, and I'm going to continue to talk about it in the future again. But when I reviewed my trades, like, I don't know, 3 years ago or something like that, I went through all my trades on a piece of paper. I wrote down with the trend, against the trend, with this setup, with that setup, aggressive setup, non-aggressive setup, bad trade, good trade, and I would mark off win, loss, win, loss, win, loss with ticks. And I could only go back and review those data or those trades and have a list of, trade setups that had a certain percent of a win rate if I journaled those trades. If I didn't take pictures, if I didn't journal, then how the hell do you expect to go back 6 months from now and look at the trades and say, shit, these counter trend trades taking set baguettes, I'm winning 20% of the time. It's clearly not working. But without those pictures, you're going to continue to take those trades and you're going to continue to hold yourself possibly back from making better gains, right? So you need to have that journal. I mean, I can't put it on you. Some people learn this shit after like 6 months of being in a group, maybe a year by themselves. Some manage to pick it up right away by themselves. People learn at different times. It's understandable, right? But just because you lose 2 trades in a row doesn't mean that you need to go fucking flip your computer over and get all upset and start private messaging people saying, what did you do wrong? Journal it. Is it a good trade? Did you take it based on your trades or somebody else's trades? Did you feel confident about it? I'm waiting for that message from somebody that's not in my group that hears this message and they private message me saying, I took the last 10 trades and I felt very confident about it and I'm very happy with them. Here's what I learned, profitable or not. If they're not profitable, that's great. They know what they have to work on, what they might have to change. If they are, okay, great. Start doing that more of what you're doing profitable with, right? But the thing is, no, most people just won't do it, right? I'm getting messages all the time. People lose a trade. What happened? What are your thoughts on this? Should I buy or sell? Who the hell gives a shit about what I say? Who the hell cares what Twitter username Bilbo Baggins 420 says, right? Focus on yourself. Even if that involves not watching my videos anymore, do it because I want to see you on a beach in 5 years from now. Message me, you want to meet up and say, hey man, this video, it helped me. I don't care if you don't sign up, right? Because this message might start to change your mindset. Thinking you got to start journaling, and like, you took 10 trades, you went back and journaled, reviewed, reviewed, journaled, review, and you had this list of trades that you were good at and what you were not good at. And then you start taking trades that you're good at, and then you became a profitable trader. Well, then you became a profitable trader because you listened to the video, you listened to what I was saying, but more importantly, not because of me, because if you took the action, right? And I'm sure I wanted to talk about this at like the end of the video, but maybe some people just skip to the end of the video and see if I talk about anything. So I'm not sure how many people are actually still here. I think if I release like a 20-minute video, this is definitely gonna be over 20 minutes. But if I release a 20-minute video, my average view duration is I think like 7 minutes and like 80 seconds. So the people that do listen to it will get this. And the people that are just listening to the quick in and out, they want to get the answer. I wish them luck. I hope they get it. I hope they come out profitable. But I don't know. It's not up to me. It's up to you, right? I can only talk. This is only a one-way conversation here. But if you're not in the group, or even if you are in the group, I always say, just take 10 trades. 10 trades, and then review. Do not listen to anyone on Twitter. If you're in a group, avoid complete conversation with them. And just focus on yourself. It's like one of my favorite things to say in trading. Focus on yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Right? Just focus on yourself. Take trades that you want to trade. If Bilbo Baggins bong hitter 420 is saying buy and he's giving you all these reasons, take the opposite side of his trade. If your trade says take the opposite side, take the opposite side. Because Bilbo Baggins bong hitter 420 doesn't know where the market's going to go. He might have it based on his methodology, but there can only be a winner and loser. It can only go up or down, right? When we talked about this USD Swiss, I personally didn't take this trade, but because I don't trade the Euro Swiss. But anyways, like I was saying in the what was it, the last video, I said the market will only do this. It will go. So I drew something like this, right? And that's where we were at that stage. We were like right there, and I said, well, the market's only going to do this. One of two things. It's either going to do that, or it's going to do that. Right? It can only go up or down. Someone's going to be a winner, someone's going to be a loser. Obviously, with your methodology, with however your approach is, You want to be on that correct side, but it's not going to happen every time. You might lose 4 trades in a row, 5 trades in a row, but then you might go like 3 trades in a row hitting those 2 to 1s, and then you might go back to losing 2 trades in a row. So I think I've rambled on longer than I have about this. I'm sure I've lost a lot of people, but for the people that do stay, I appreciate you, watching these videos. Those are the people I appreciate that manage to stay for the whole video. Heck, even if you don't, whatever. Um, Anyways, we've talked about this long enough. I think you guys get the gist of it. I don't know where we were. I think let's start with oil. Oil, we're going back to what we were talking about. Oil. Daily supply, I would want to be a seller up in here. As for demand, there's a rally-based rally demand right in there, okay? And I believe, yes, we have a drop-based rally here that buyers are trying to step in. I think I talked about this. No, that was with the private group. We were talking about how buyers might be trying to step in based on if we draw our momentum line or a trend line like that. Because if we draw it like that, well, then we have buyers trying to step in right here. So I think that's where buyers are trying to step in. Yeah, if we go to the 4-hour, let's see. You can kind of see the downward momentum line broke, removed supply, so you have buyers stepping in somewhere in here. So that's why buyers are trying to step in. But anyways, let's keep going. I think this video is super long. You guys remember I used to produce like every video like 25 minutes, 30 minutes long. Whew, those were the glory days. Bitcoin. Daily supply up there. I know for a fact this whole area is weekly supply, so we do note that. But right above it, if we're looking at daily supply, we have 2 daily supplies up there. Daily demand down here. Okay. As for now, for shorts, I don't see anything. Just prices continue to go up. S&P, Dow Jones, Nasdaq, we're at all-time highs. You guys hear me say it. You guys hear me say it all the time. Buy pullbacks. Just trying to buy pullbacks to swing highs, swing lows. Higher highs, higher lows. You guys know what I mean. Back into demand zones. That's how we play. All-time highs. UK 100. Daily chart. I like this daily demand zone. And we have daily supply up there. So as of now, I would be waiting. I'd be waiting for prices to come up into these zones. Euro pound. Daily time frame. We have that daily supply, daily demand down here. Yeah, I'm not really interested in selling this. Let's skip this. That hasn't been on my radar for a while. Euro Aussie, this might be interesting because based on our own trading methodology, we consider this now a downtrend because we have removed the demand zone and we have continued to make lower highs, lower lows. We have the ability to draw downward momentum. Daily supply up here. Demand, I like that demand down there and the demand down there. So as of now, I'd be looking for selling positions. For scalps, I would keep an eye on this in this area too for scalping areas. So I'll be waiting for prices to come back up here for shorts. Okay. So the same process that I'm doing here, drawing out daily zones. If you're trying to look for scalps, I'm gonna go down to like the 4-hour and draw your zones. Right? It's the exact same thing. Sell and supply, buy and demand. But use the 4-hour as your biggest time frame. There was a question I got on Twitter today saying, what's the best time frames to use? There is no best time frames. I think the higher time frames might be better probability, but if you're looking to scalp, probably the weekly, you're not interested in looking at the weekly. You might be wanting to look at like the 4-hour. So Euro New Zealand, that's the current supply zone. That's the current demand zone. I don't like this. This is not a demand zone that I would feel comfortable trading at because we haven't removed supply or we can't draw an upward momentum line connecting to this. If we manage to break this high and we create a new high, okay, then I would draw that as a demand zone. But as of now, no. As for supply, it looks like we have a supply zone right above price 2. Euro yen, I like this supply. And we have all this demand up here, kind of like rally base, drop base, drop base, drop, like levels all right here. I like all these zones for selling at. This is another supply zone to be looking for sells at. Looks like we have this demand still holding price, but then ultimately we have this demand zone down here at the extreme. This demand zone was tested once, twice, 3 times. So any longs would be, I guess, counter trend and would be considered pretty aggressive. I don't see any, let's see. I'm seeing this as like a super aggressive trade because prices would be back into this daily demand tested once, twice, 3 times. You might have this removal of supply. You might have a break of downward momentum. Let's just draw it like that. Hold on. Alright, so we got 15 minutes. Let's see the 15-minute. So in the 15-minute, you know, this might work out for a quick trade. I don't know, maybe. It'd be super aggressive. And if you're not the type of trader that wants to be trading at these tested zones, then I wouldn't take it. As for this daily supply zone, let's see if there's a supply zone in there. I don't see anything too great. You might have like some scalping opportunities in there. And also up there too is not bad. I'd look for opportunities somewhere in there. So that's my thoughts on Euro Yen. Pound Yen, like this is just ugly. Like, oof. If we go back to like Euro Yen, like take a look at this. Like where's demand? Like sure you might see demand holding. I kind of see this holding price, but shit. It's been tested so many times. You could play the range, but I just don't see any significant imbalance. Like ugly, ugly, ugly. Compared to Euro Yen, if we remove everything, it's like what do you see? Well, here's a rally-based drop. And we have a drop-based rally down here. Those are our 2 fresh zones. If we go back to Pound Yen, it's like, what do you see? I personally don't see shit. I would rather be a buyer down here, and that's it. Okay. Aussie Yen, got 4 more pairs. This is probably going to be like a 30-minute video. Aussie Yen, daily demand down here, daily supply down there. Let's see if we're inside weekly. Oh, we're inside weekly demand, daily confirmation. Is there a 4-hour? Yeah, there's a 4-hour demand down here. That might be a possible buy setup. Price inside weekly demand, daily confirmation, price down here, 4-hour demand, decent zone. Might be worth a shot. I want to see a clean arrival going back into it. Okay. Maybe if you're looking for scalps, then you could look for scalps in this area. It always depends on the type of trading that you're looking to do. New Zealand Yen, this zone has already been in play. I don't see any opportunity. I would skip it. CAD Yen, not a big fan of this daily supply zone. I'm not a big fan of this at all. This is daily supply. It's not the best daily supply, but I think you at least might get some reaction, and that's what we have. Maybe some scalps. If prices manage to go up there on the 4-hour, I might look for some smaller time frame trades, but as of now, don't see anything. We continue to produce higher highs, going back deeper into the zone. Okay, last chart, Aussie New Zealand. Aussie New Zealand, price is in a sideways market right now. I see prices going back up into a tested drop-based drop supply zone that's barely been tested once. Based on the supply and demand methodology, we would assume prices go deeper into it because it's going back into a tested zone. So prices go deeper into it. I still like the supply zone. It might work out still. I don't see anything. Well, I was watching this earlier. In the London session, I was watching this because prices were doing that. And I was watching, I believe that. I was watching that. But as of now, not anymore. It'd be interesting to see if that works out too. But It would be pretty aggressive. Yeah, we'll test it anyways. Anyways, I think you guys get the gist of it. That's pretty much it. I think we talked about quite a bit of stuff. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll try to come back to you guys on the weekend with any reviews or any questions. Oh, all right. You guys have a lovely week, and appreciate you guys watching this. All right. Cheers. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that little mid-market talk we had. I guess that mid-video of talk. If you guys have any questions, let me know. You guys can message me on Instagram. That's usually where I send my voice message because I get a lot of questions. So I like it when people message me on Instagram because I can just hold down my voice audio because I get a lot of messages, right? And it's a lot when you've got to type out everything. So I like those voice messages. You know, you can message me on Facebook if you want. Everything's down in the description below. Twitter, Instagram, Moneyball Austin. And leave comments down below in the video, guys. Leave, you know, like this video. I don't ever really ask for that, but take action. If you don't like this video, you know, put a thumbs down. If you like it, put a thumbs up. Don't sit there with a YouTube account and not do anything. Take action. That's all I'm asking you guys to do. If you didn't like it, leave a comment. Feel free. Put a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Doesn't bother me. Cheers, guys. I appreciate everyone watching. Have a great week. Focus on yourself. Don't worry about other people, guys. All right? Do 10 trades. That's all I'm asking, guys. All right? Cheers. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.